This is America here, baby. This is great. I love it. Here we go, baby. I'm going to help you be successful. That's my job. Believe it. I've been doing this 27 years. That's a fact. Disney ESPN ain't going to help you because none of them know the right side. Trust me, they know nothing. Let's kick their ass. They don't know a damn thing about handicap. And I'm coming after you, Disney. I'm the guru. I am Sportsguru.vegas. That name was earned by picking winners. That's how it works. Make no mistake, I'm here to win. Good afternoon, gurus out there. Sports Guru Vegas live, coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada, the greatest city in the world. And welcome to my show, the new followers on TikTok and Twitter X. Welcome. Thank you for joining the show. Big weekend coming up here in the NFL. We'll talk about that a little bit. I actually put a bet to one of the tied it into one of the NFL games. So we'll talk about that. We have one round robin we'll go over. And get your talk. A lot of it's the NFL. I'll talk a little bit about tomorrow's games. There's going to be a big board tomorrow. But there was only 8 games today on the board for college. So we did find one game. We mixed it with an NBA, and then we're going to go with the Ravens on Sunday. Yesterday we had a difficult day. Our best bet, Cleveland State. If you followed it or you bet it, we lost in overtime. And that was difficult because we needed that game. That stood out to us, and we don't get these positions often, but we get them enough to make some money, and they need to win as often as they can. They had I think they were up like 8 points with 5 minutes at home. You'd like to close that game out, and we didn't, and unfortunately lost one of the other two. So we went 1-2 on that. And then the Heat got blown out. They played the day before, so they didn't have their legs. 8 points wasn't enough. Boston's playing at a very high level. And, they, even though Miami picked up a player, they're still not at that level. Boston was probably looking to destroy this team because they beat them in the postseason last year. So, and they didn't have Jaquez. That was one player, but they have everyone else back. But I think the back-to-back for the Heat probably cost them in that game. And so, that's probably, I didn't factor that in enough, and that's on Guru. But, and then we split the other two. Long Beach State lost, and we won with Santa Clara. So all in all, those are numbers that are difficult, meaning got to get that going, got to get better, and we're aware of that. I am doing a final editing process for the show. I've decided to start that based on certain issues that I have to deal with health-wise. It's better to have someone else, make sure before we release games, we'll make sure everything's right for you guys. I was handling all that, and the virus hit, and I've had some issues at times with that. So we're going to correct that. And we already talked about that yesterday. It's very important. I believe, gurus, one thing you have to be successful, you have to be accountable, right? And I started this show because of accountability. I don't see enough of it out there. Well, accountability means you show up, but it also means that you're doing everything you can to be successful. Now, you can put as much effort as you want into that at times. We've all been in difficult places at times in our lives. That doesn't mean you're getting the best results. I heard they were talking about this on a show this morning, the topic of Belichick, and I was listening to one of the reporters. I do respect this guy. He was on First Take this morning. I forgot his name, but he played in the NFL, and I do respect him. He's a very good X's and O's person. Anyway, he said something that kind of resonated with me. He said that just because Belichick may have been the best coach, he may not be the best coach now. Therefore, that's a judgment call. So Atlanta turned him down, they went with the coordinator. I believe it was the Niners, right, Mark? Not the was it? No, they went with the coordinator for what team? Atlanta. For where? Rams. Thank you, Mark. Forgive me. It was the Rams. And so they passed over Belichick, right? And I think people are thinking more in line of what how I am in this situation. That Belichick, first of all, I don't think he is the greatest coach of all time. I don't. I think he's one of the top coaches. I'd put him in the top 10 for sure, and maybe five. Perhaps I'm a little hard on him, but he might be the five. But who cares? Great coach. You're a great coach. I believe he is a great coach, Belichick. At some level, you have to maintain greatness. And as the coach, when Brady was there, he had to maintain that. That's a culture. Not only the players, but the coach has to maintain greatness. And he did with that team. The last 2 years, we've seen him struggle. So, and that's why, gurus, I bring this up to you. So I'm 14 years younger than Belichick. And I'm trying to build a show, which means I'm trying to reach greatness, right? And we're going to, but what that requires is you have to make some changes within your structure, your business at times. There's a lot to deal with here. So some of that responsibility, although I make all the decisions working with Mark, we're all gonna work together to make sure everything gets out properly, that we're making the best decisions for you guys. That's critical. Without that, the success will be unattainable. And I didn't do this show not to be successful. So, and we've talked about that, Guru, since I started this show. I have a standard. You can work hard, but if you don't get it all right, that's sad because that work, that ethic is there, but you have to get the results. So I believe this step we're going to take is going to help us get there. So please stay with me a little longer. We're going to be in good shape. We're going to take care of it. I believe that'll start tomorrow. I believe we're going to have a winning day tomorrow. And I know I look at my past and I know when I feel better. When sometimes you have to work things out, gurus, to get it where you want to be. This is a new experience for me doing this on a daily basis, and for Mark. So we have to learn how to go with that. And we are gurus. We have to. We can't help you if we don't get this right. And we're doing everything to make that possible. I wanted to share that with you guys today because these aren't my standards. They're not. And I know that. So, with that said, I want to go ahead and put this game up for today. And I put we only had two, and I wanted to put. Mark said, let's start talking about the NFL. I said, okay, that makes sense. So I think that's a good way to go into the show, and because we have these big games coming up, we like both home teams, and I'll talk to you about that. A lot of people like. I don't take great credit for like there's only two games on the board, and you don't even have to bet these games, but we feel we do. Meaning, I think when I look at these games, and we'll talk about them. Basically, they're interesting situations. I believe the Niners are the best team, right? They're clearly the better team in this game coming up. They are. Their components are, the personnel is. But I do have a problem with is if Purdy plays like he did last week, they will lose to the Lions. And now, I've heard a couple questions like, who do you trust more in this game? Well, who do you trust more was the question. And I said, well, Mark, that's not the question. The question is, who do you trust more in this game? Who cares what the hell they did before? One of the things about predicting the future, because that's exactly what we're doing here, is you can't think in one dimensional terms. You have to forget about what's happened. You have to figure out what's going to happen. And that means you have to really know what you're doing here. You have to make sure everything's correct, that you understand all of their situations and all the ones you may have chosen not to bet. Some of those need to be relooked at, perhaps. So, from an organizational standpoint, That's how you become successful. From a game standpoint, well, we have to predict, are the Niners better than 7 points? And if we feel that way, then I give the play out to you guys and you decide what you want to do with it. So at this point, 7 points. Okay, I would try and get under 7 in this spot. I would, and take the Niners under the 7. And we'll talk about that on Sunday morning before the games. I'm going to do a show on Sunday morning, and hopefully we'll have some good college basketball bets and NBA bets to share with you guys. But for this particular round robin, we only put the Ravens. So we have the Hornets at home. They're playing Detroit. I have a future on Detroit to win, go to the playoffs. I believe that's in jeopardy. The Hornets, 5 points at home's a lot. Houston outside of their building is not that good. They're a much better home team than road. They're a young team, Gurus. They have a new coach. And the Hornets are not, again, they're not going to the playoffs. There's more motivation to Houston, but this is a reasonable 5 in this spot with ball playing is reasonable. And that's why we're taking the Hornets today. And then we went to the Ravens. And again, we talked about, I put -3 up here because if you're going to, I believe you have to lay the 3 in this game because the value's not all there. You have a $2 money line. That's a little high for this matchup. Talking about Jackson's going up against, the greatest quarterback right now and perhaps ever. So, that's a lot to, you want to cover the field goal, at least push on the field goal. We don't want it to be that close. That means that Mahomes will be a bigger, potential threat in a close game. If he gets the ball last, he can do some damage. But I think clearly this is the Ravens' year this year. I believe that. That's why we had Buffalo last week. I figured if the Chiefs aren't going to the Super Bowl, they won't even make it past Buffalo. They did, but Buffalo should have really won that game. I think anyone who watched it, it was in their possession to win that game. If they get a touchdown, which you have to get to secure that game, it's difficult with a minute 40 left or less for Mahomes to get a touchdown back. I think Buffalo wins. Diggs dropped a key pass. I yelled about that on Monday. I still feel the same way. It hurts me when I think about it. Imagine what he's dealing with. He has to. I hope he doesn't live in that community in the off season because that basically, in my opinion, that play changed the game, and that was it. And they weren't meant to win. I think you could see Allen's expression after he dropped that pass. That's the look of someone who just that's difficult, Gurus. I've seen it a lot. Um, and then we're going to take Marist in college basketball. Yesterday, 1-2 in college basketball, and again we lost an overtime game. That's a tough on our best bet and our best ticket. And I talked to you about that yesterday. That we had more money on that ticket. And it was good value. Cleveland stayed at home. They just got beaten overtime. Shouldn't even have made it that far, but it did. We hit Santa Clara, lost Beach, and of course the Heat got humiliated, and that was tough to watch. I watched it, and I figured back to back. I don't know if it's the virus. I certainly know it's hurt me, affected me on a very personal level. I've shared that with you, Gurus. Chris Como has a show. He's an independent. I'm not into his politics, but at least he's in the middle more now. He used to be on the left. I never watch him, but I know he got sick and he had to do his show out of his basement and this was in 2020. That's the same year I got badly sick from this virus that's ravaged us to this day. Now it's affected me more than him. However, if you watch the show and if you struggle with this at all, Gurus, or you know someone, I implore you to watch his show because every night lately he's had a doctor, scientist, or someone struggling with the long haul like I am. But I have help here and I have people helping me and I'm grateful and we're going to take care of it because I love to do this, Gurus. And to me, the reason I love it is I'm good at it, but I'm only as good as the work I'm doing and making sure that work is in the best place for all of us to win with and making sure We're all on top of things, and we are going to be there. We were there before. We're going to come back to that. That's the way it works. We have to. I always have. It's not going to change. So we're going to take care of these games tonight for you and to tomorrow. And we need to have a good day. We're confident, Mark and I, we're going to get that done for you guys. I'm certainly confident. So I want you to, I'll post these games on TikTok and X tomorrow for you, and you'll have everything. You won't miss anything. It works. This is an important day for me tomorrow. But for today, we have the Hornets and Maris, and we're going to roll that into the Ravens. So what this is, Gurus, if these first two games come in, it's an equity position for you, and that's fine. You can watch the game. You have a little extra. If one of them loses, then you have 1-1. Just it doesn't have any significance. For me, it's just a way to get the topic out. We have two bets. We're going to talk about the NFL. So we talked also, Mark and I, about parlaying. So when you parlay the last week, Gurus, if you remember, I gave out the Ravens, Niners, and Lions money line parlay. That paid even money. Now, that's not very good value when you think about it, Gurus. I want you to understand that. I'm not like saying, hey, look at me. I'm not. What I am saying is I've been doing this for a very long time, over 25 years, helping people. Everyone, if you're like Guru, and I know like most people, we love to bet the playoffs. I do. So how do I maximize the best, the least risk with the most money? To me, it's putting these parlays. It's a little insurance. As it turned out, it worked out. I also put a four-teamer with Southern Miss on Saturday, and that hit as well. So all these things helped with the revenue over the weekend. I had a winning weekend doing these things, and that helped me make money. This week's been difficult since Monday. Not, and that's going to get taken care of. So, um, but anyway, we put this out here today for the games today because today matters. I always stress that on my show. I do this show for the games that are today, but I also, on days like this when there's not a lot of games to put out, I'll go, especially when it comes to the NFL, on a big playoff week, and it's a championship year. I did predict without, and again, not much credit. Everyone pretty much knew that the Niners are going to go to the Super Bowl. This game is the one that's challenging. Historically, Jackson has struggled against the Chiefs and Mahomes. So he needs to make it happen. This is a big game for him. It's a statement game for him in his career. If he doesn't win this game, he'll be never considered ever. He may not be considered a top 10 quarterback. It depends what happens. Even though he's a tremendous quarterback, he's going to get an MVP probably this year, and he probably should. So he needs to take care of this game and face San Francisco in the Super Bowl in my city in 2 weeks. And I'm really looking forward to that. I grew up a Niners fan. Actually, my brother and I were Niner fans when Montana was the quarterback. That we always were Ram fans, and we couldn't beat the Cowboys ever. So we were rooting for the Niners to beat them. And sure enough, Montana beat them at home. That was it. We became fans. I had my late wife was a Niner fan, big one, so that was easy for me to stay with her, and that was fun. We used to watch some games together. Um, so anyway, Gurus, this is what we have today, and I wanted to share that with you. A money line's optional, but for me, I always bet it. So I'm going to pry on this situation. Now, money line in the Hornets game is optional. I'll take that for like probably 10 to 15%. And Marist, they're on the road. May not, I'll have to look at the value there. If they give me enough plus on the road, I'll take that too. I do most of the time, Gurus. We're looking at about 15%. I wouldn't do more. These are weak teams. Now, Marist, that's a tougher position. So that's how I rate that road team. We lost to Albany on the road yesterday. So, but the Ravens is interesting because they're a $2 plus favorite. So what I do in these situations is that's not bad, but that's not for this matchup. It's a little high, but it's moved up. It didn't start that way. It started right under $2, right, Mark? Yeah, it's been they're betting the Ravens, and that's okay. Gurus, this is a time of the year you have a couple games in the NFL. Everyone's an expert, right? Everyone's an expert. Because you only have to guess two games. The reason I started this show, Gurus, is because I've always bet all the sports. That Super Bowl didn't matter. I usually have a lot of college basketball on Super Bowl Sunday when they play this game. So to me, it's just another betting. It's another day of betting, but it's a big day for my city, for me. I'm a Raider fan because I've lived here for 25 years, so they're my hometown team now. I have the we see the Super Bowl trophy. I have the Knights little cup up there. Right, I had a woman make that for me. I like it. It's cool. It's a nice prop. So I'm not a diehard fan because I have to do this work, and I don't think of it that way. But this is the city I live in. I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of the teams we brought in. The Knights won a national title. I mean, they won a Stanley Cup. That's huge, Gurus. In 5, 6 years, that's insane. So I'm very proud of that. The Raiders are in the right direction. They just hired their head coach. He did a tremendous job with this team. I'm very proud of the way they're playing. I think Brady's involved with this organization, and I think that's making a difference. We saw that last year. To make a change in the middle of the year and then be successful with that change, to bring in a new coach with no experience, I think that's phenomenal. And I have a lot of respect. I like what the Raiders are doing. They have a beautiful stadium. They have good outreach programs in my community. I see how they engage with fans. They do a lot of engagement. They're really doing things right. They deserve this Super Bowl, Vegas. We have all of the room, all of the areas where you can have. I mean, they're having watch parties everywhere. They're not cheap to get in, a couple $100, but that's okay, Gurus. This is a massive, major event. I'll be out there somewhere on the strip, taking it all in. I'm looking forward to it a lot. I want to go to Mark. Somebody asked a question, Mark. Okay, let's do this one first. He says, NFL's interesting this week, and we are studying these two games. And yes, and I think, again, once you understand who you want to bet, then you go to how you want to bet it. So obviously, if I did the money lines last week, I'm coming back with them this week. That's your first layer of protection. The Niners are in the $3. That's high, but they're a low two, Ravens. So when you combine that, it's about minus 115, 110 to bet that parlay. But again, I think that's reasonable for tomorrow. Excuse me, for Sunday. And what I'm going to do, Gurus, I'll look for a game tomorrow to lock in with these games. If I see enough of them, I can tie them in with these in college basketball or even NBA. We'll have to take a look. So I can tie some games in with these two games, boost that equity position. Then if those games win, right, and I'll send those out tomorrow if I see them, and I'm sure I will, then you have a position where you could hedge a little bit. So let's say we hit a strong round robin tomorrow to these two games. You hit maybe two out of the first three. You can do a little hedge situation with maybe the Lions or even the Chiefs. Try to win both. Um, we'll see. I'm not going to probably go there. I usually stay all in. If I have enough tickets, equity going to the team I'm betting on, I will take someone. You got to try to win both sides, Gurus, if you can. Meaning, if you have money line parlays or a round robin, and you have equity built into those in that last final game, you need to try to make hit both sides. You always, and let me tell you something, Gurus. And right now, if you ask me who's a better quarterback, I'm going to tell you Goff. Right now, I believe he's a better quarterback. Will he be better Sunday? I can't make that comment but they're a solid team on the road, the Lions. So Purdy has to play a good game to win. He can't play like he did. And so far, he's coin flip. I think Goff's played much better, and the talent hasn't been much less. Granted, Green Bay's better than Tampa Bay, but Tampa Bay beat Green Bay this year in Green Bay. I know because we bet Green Bay against Tampa. So better play well. If Goff didn't play well against Tampa, they may not have won. They may not have won that. They won by 8. They were in command the whole game because he played well. He didn't play like Purdy in the Green Bay game. He didn't. Purdy could not sustain drives, missing wide open receivers, making the wrong reads. And now the ball was wet, but it was wet for Love too. So I don't want to hear that. Now it may be wet again. We'll have to look at the forecast this weekend. I think the weather in where Baltimore plays is going to have some rain. We'll have to see. Weather does matter, gurus, in some instances. I think it won't matter. We didn't see it mattering in the Buffalo game. That makes sense. It was freezing in Houston. I mean, excuse me, in Kansas City and blizzard. They don't give a shit. They play in that. They don't care. And he is very Mahomes is just crazy good. That's the way it is, and a very good system by the Chiefs. Not just the quarterback, the system. We got to give Andy Reid credit. He's been in the game a long time. They have a very good defensive coordinator, Spagnolia. He's from the Giants. So, and the Ravens now they got Harbaugh's got a ring already. They brought in this offense. They're allowing Jackson to make more decisions, which I think is brilliant, right? As long as he makes the right decisions. So far, he's unstoppable. But this is a different game. So, but we're taking him. I believe that Jackson and the Ravens are going to win this game and move on to the Super Bowl. Well, I'll probably bet them again. We'll cross that bridge, but we'll figure it out. So my plan, gurus, outside of the round robin I released today, is to look for games tomorrow to put with the 49ers and the Ravens for Sunday. That I traditionally do that anyway. The reason why is I'll have some money line home teams in college, most likely basketball. That's a good way to plug those in with these bets because you want to stay at home, right? The Niners are at home. The Ravens are at home. We want to maintain that home position. I've always done better doing it that way when I line up these games. So I try to keep the home the same with the road. The next question. Well, this isn't a question. He's making a statement, Mark. We will win. And I like that attitude. And thanks, Mark, because we're the ones that have to make this happen, but again, gurus, I'm your guide, right? And I have to be a much better guide. I have to step that up. That's on Guru, and I will for you guys because I take that very seriously. That's why I started the show. They don't have this responsibility on Disney ESPN. They don't ask for it. They don't tell you to come on their show and we'll help you win. They don't say that. They don't tell you to come on the show. We're working hard to give you the best picks to help you win. They don't say that, and they know better than to do that. Well, I am saying it. Well, guess what? I got to deliver then, and I didn't. I haven't been this on my game the last week, so I got to fix that and get help for that to make sure that we are, because this is a we thing. This isn't anything but a we. I make the decisions. I'm responsible, but this is a we thing. You can't do it one person. It's too sophisticated, too complex. So thanks, Mark, for sharing that. Appreciate it. So back to the round robin, then we can talk about Sunday. There we go, Gurus. Hornets at home. They lost earlier to Houston. They have a new coach, Houston. The Hornets have ball, and as long as you have ball, you can win. They couldn't beat Detroit for us, right? On the road. I mean, they better, let's see what they got today for it. They better compete. Ball grew up with two brothers this guy, why he's so good. Look who he grew up with. Now, his brother hasn't played all year on the Bulls, and the other one, I don't even know what happened to him. The Ravens, again, we talked about this game, Guru, is the big game for Jackson in Baltimore, the city. All right, this is a culture in Baltimore. The Ravens are big, the just to add to this game, the fans are right on top of you. They compare it. Seattle's the loudest stadium, but the Ravens is very difficult. You saw last week that the Texans struggled in that game because of the noise, and now he's a rookie quarterback, Stroud, and that's more likely, right? Now we're dealing with one of the greatest of all time coming in. They'll figure that out. They're used to it. So clearly it'll help us. Of course, you want noise. That helps. More the home team. We better have the damn noise. This isn't LA, right? Where the Chargers and Rams are half the fans are for the other team. So we're going to have that going. This is a huge game, as you know, Gurus. I'm going to miss the NFL. We've had a good season with the Gurus, and that's made me feel good. We're winning in the NBA this year. That's helping me feel good, but we got to get back our standards, get up. We need to start kicking ass in college basketball. And Mark made it clear to you, we will win tomorrow. That means, we got to get it done. So we got work to do. We're going to do it for you, Gurus, because we want to. We do it for ourselves. So we have to get this done. So we will, Gurus. We have a lot to look forward to, not only this weekend, but we're about 6 weeks, 5 very strong weeks of college basketball. And we need to win like 4 out of those 5, or minimum a good 3 out of 5 where we made a good profit. I'd like to do 4 and maybe every damn weekend. Just kick ass. I want to finish very strong. And now I think we have the things in place for that to happen, organizationally speaking, Gurus. Because it's up to me to project to you positive things, but things that are tangible. I know I'm dealing with the meetings. We know what we have to do. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I'm not. So we'll show you with the results. Enough talking. But enjoy these games today. Hopefully, we get a couple in with the Ravens, but the real money's tomorrow, Gurus. We got to make it happen. There's going to be a lot of bets. We need to hit a couple tickets, and we need to make that happen at least. So, with that said, we're going to shoot the show on Sunday morning for the NFL. So that's a recap. So whatever we need to do Sunday, meaning giving out more games, which I hope we have more college, NBA to give out and win with, and tie them in maybe to these playoff games. We'll have to see how it goes. But I want to do a show because I love Championship Sunday. We're talking about tons of history. We know, Gurus. We've been doing all this. Some of you're my age or you're younger. This is a tradition with your families. I mean, it's historic, all this. I listened to Mahomes say something really awesome in his press conference in the Buffalo game. He said, "You know what?" He said, "This game and this matchup with me and Allen reminds me of Manning Brady. I watched that growing up." Right? He brought up different matchups that he, as a young kid, grew up. Well, for me, I was betting when Mahomes was a young kid. I've been betting almost as long as he's been alive. So for me, I look at it as I've been betting. He looks at it, he's been watching. Now he's playing, right? That must be amazing, Gurus. But just to bet it's amazing. I've been telling you, this is not a right. It's a privilege to do this. We have to be responsible. Why? Because Guru can, as sometimes we got to things get shaken up. We got to be able to come back. So we got to make sure we're responsible. We're here for the long haul, Gurus. I want to finish this college basketball with a profit. I want us to be in the black. I believe that's going to happen. And I want to have fun along the way because we're here to have fun too. And if we're doing everything right, we're having fun. Winning creates joy, right? Enthusiasm. Losing doesn't. So we got to win. That's why we're here. So, but I appreciate you staying with me. Stay with us. We're going to make this happen, Gurus. And we'll have a lot to talk about Sunday morning for the games tomorrow. Everything will be on TikTok and the X.com, Twitter, all the videos I'll send out with these picks tomorrow, and you guys will have plenty of time to get those in, and let's get it done. Let's kick some ass. So day at a time. But thank you for being with me today, Gurus. Very excited about Sunday. It's the last day. We want to make it count right before the Super Bowl, and we want to enjoy all of the weekend. Let's make some money. Let's have some fun watching these games. We'll talk about it all on Monday and Sunday. I want to thank you for being here with Guru. I love you guys. Have a good day. God bless you. And I will see you Sunday morning at 9. Look for my videos on TikTok and X tomorrow. Have a great day.